Hi, my name is Torres, and I'm the Education Director for IGK, and today we're going to be working with this beautiful model. I'm going to be teaching, showing all the tips and tricks about my contour layering technique. So let's start talking about one of the most important keys of a haircut, right? So I'm going to put the models on the side so you can see all my sectioning. I always talk about the importance of a section, right? This is going to be my roadmap. This is going to be telling me where to go. So working organized always allows me to have control during the process of the haircut. Once I have my sectioning, the rest of the haircut is going to be a super easy, and I want to say comfortable process. So let me just turn a little more my model so you can see how I did my sectioning. So I'm going to walk on the other side, and I'm going to explain what I did. So first I started working with a center profile section, and from there I did a section, the radial section, right? So we have balance, we have control, and then this part that you see on this area, that is going to be the perimeter. That is going to be the length of the hair. So I did that before we started because doing blow dries and explaining every single technique, it can take a lot of time. So I wanted to say that I did something a little before just to speed up the process, but I'm going to explain what I did, right? So everything on this back area was over directed. It was natural fall, right? I started cutting from the center all the way to the corners. This size was over directed to the back, so then we cut everything square. So first I did precision cut, and then I did point cut. Why point cut? Because I want a soft line. So I established the length first with blunt cut, and then I did point cut to both sides to get that soft line on the ends. The density of the hair here, it's perfect for what I wanted. And this is always going to determine how big is going to be your section, right? So if you have somebody with a lot of density, then you can go a little lower. If you have somebody with fine hair, you want the perimeter to be enough so the hair looks healthy. So with this section right here, I feel that we have the perfect density for what we want to create at the end, all right? I use my blow dryer. I did everything straight, and then I use a curling iron to create a soft movement. But I'm going to create everything on the top and on the front, so then you can see how I did it on the back as well. The first sectioning that we're going to be working on is going to be the center. We're talking about contour layering, right? So everything, the layers that we're going to do right in front, the face framing. So we can divide that in different, like 3 different steps. So the first one is going to be how short it's going to be, the first layer, and from there, the rest of the face framing, we're talking about the front layers, the forward graduation. Then we have the back, which is the perimeter, and how we're going to work those layers on the top. All right, so for that, I'm going to start working with my scissor and my comb. But before, I want to explain what I did first. So when I'm working with models or clients, it doesn't matter what I'm doing behind the chair. Always I like to prep the hair with products, right? So in this case, I use a little bit of the press spray from IGK, and then I use a big time, which is the mousse, for volume. So one is going to give me softness. It's going to make my process during my section and when I'm combing the hair super clean and nice. And this other one is going to create the support and the volume that we need for this type of style. Now that we're ready, we can start with the process of the haircut. So I'm going to release this section right here, and then we're going to start with this part. So something that I like to explain when I'm having clients behind it, like in my chair, I like to get into a negotiation, how is the shorter that they want. That can determine the rest of the haircut. So target length for that front section, and from there we can work and at the other 2 sides, right? So this is a triangle. My triangle is going to be from 3 to 4 fingers, or depend on the density. Sometimes you can go a little wider, sometimes smaller, depends on the density, but also the bone structure. Some people have less hair on the recession area. So when that happens, and I'm going to go closer here, when that happens, instead of going from here to the end of the eyebrow, I can go with a round section, so then I can incorporate more hair from the recession area just to compensate when somebody has fine hair, right? So those are some of the things that I like to explain that I'm working with a fringe or bangs, is taking your section in relation to the recession area, but also in relation to the density. That can be key for the rest of the haircut. So let's start with this. I'm gonna use a little bit of water here. The hair is a little dry right now, so we're gonna wet it down. We've been prepping for this live for a couple of minutes now. So the hair was getting dry, but now that we have everything ready, I'm gonna comb the hair to different sides, so then we can break that part that is in the middle. And then we're gonna start the process of the haircut. Target length, it can be the chin, it can be the lips, it can be the nose. If you want something a little longer, if you want a fringe or bangs shorter than that, then we can choose something a little shorter than that, all right? My recommendation is always, and I'm gonna stand in the opposite side because I'm a righty. So my recommendation is that you can start right in the center with your fingers. And something else that I want to explain is the density, right? It is important to know the density before you choose your elevation. If you have fine hair, a low elevation is going to make the illusion they have more hair. Somebody that have a lot of hair, then you can incorporate more elevation, so that way you can cut, establish the length, but at the same time remove the excess of hair. With my model here, we're gonna choose something a little longer, right? So we can work with a subdivision first. So I'm gonna take one horizontal section on the top, and we're gonna divide that in two. Why this is important? Because you don't wanna put too much pressure on your scissors. By the way, I'm using Paragon 2 from our scissors. This is a 7 inches. I like to use this one because I can do not just precision haircut, also personalize, do some of the slicing techniques that I like to do, the weave technique that have more control because the blade is longer. So I like to use, for this type of haircut, something that is a little longer. So I divide it in two, and then I have less hair to work. Remember, if you have a fringe or bangs that is too wide or too thick, and you start cutting the entire section in one, then you're putting too much pressure on your blades, and you don't want to create that. You want to have a long-lasting sharpness on your blades and on your scissors. So let's start working with the first section that we're going to do here. All right. So we already, my model Lydia and I, we were having a conversation about, how short, and we agree on something. We agree on having something more like around here, and that's going to be the reference for the rest of the haircut. So again, she got fine hair, so we're going to choose lower elevation on this one, and then point cut. When I'm creating point cut, I like to use both sides because short hair pushes along. So if I only do the point cut to one side, I'm pushing the hair to that side. But if I do my point cut to both sides, I allow the hair to move freely. You want to create that on your models or your clients, right? So I'm going to move to the sides, and that's going to be my reference. So from here, I'm going to work from long to short. And then I'm going to do the same in the opposite side. So I'm changing body and hands position. If it's hard for you, especially when you have fine hair, it's hard for you to maintain control on your section, you can go with the comb and go underneath and then grab everything in one. So now, again, I'm going to move to this side. So then I continue from long to short. All right? So that's going to be my reference. I'm going to check one more time the balance, and then we're going to do it one more time.